Welcome. We are on day 141 of the chronological Bible in a year. Take a breath and take a moment to celebrate that you have set this time aside to hear God's word. Let's begin in 1 Kings chapter 3 at verse 16. Then 2 women who were prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. The one woman said, "Pardon me, Lord. This woman and I live in the same house, and I gave birth to a child while she was in the house. And it happened on the 3rd day after I gave birth that this woman also gave birth to a child, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, only the 2 of us in the house. Then this woman's son died in the night because she lay on him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from beside me while your servant was asleep, and she laid him at her breast, and laid her dead son at my breast. When I got up in the morning to nurse my son, behold, he was dead. But when I examined him closely in the morning, behold, he was not my son whom I had borne." Then the other woman said, "No, for the living one is my son, and the dead one is your son." But the first woman said, "No, for the dead one is your son, and the living one is my son." So they spoke before the king. Then the king said, "The one says, 'This is my son who was living, and your son is the dead one.' And the other says, 'No, for your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one.' And the king said, 'Get me a sword.' So they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, 'Cut the living child in 2, and give half to the one and half to the other.' But the woman whose child was the living one spoke to the king, for she was deeply stirred over her son. And she said, 'Pardon me, my lord, give her the living child, and by no means kill him.' But the other woman was saying, 'He shall be neither mine nor yours. Cut him.' Then the king replied, 'Give the first woman the living child, and by no means kill him. She is his mother.' When all Israel heard about the judgment which the king had handed down, they feared the king, because they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to administer justice." 1 Kings chapter 5. Now Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants to Solomon when he heard that they had anointed him king in place of his father, for Hiram had always been a friend of David. Then Solomon sent word to Hiram, saying, "You know that David, my father, was unable to build a house for the name of the Lord his God because of the wars which surrounded him, until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet. But now the Lord my God has secured me rest on every side. There is neither adversary nor misfortune. So behold, I intend to build a house for the name of the Lord my God, just as the Lord spoke to David my father, saying, 'Your son, whom I will put on your throne in your place, he will build the house for my name.' Now then, issue orders that they cut cedars from Lebanon for me, and my servants will be with your servants, and I will give you wages for your servants in accordance with all that you say, for you yourself know that there is no one among us who knows how to cut timber like the Sidonians." When Hiram heard the words of Solomon, he greatly rejoiced, and he said, "Blessed be the Lord today, who has given David a wise son over this great people." So Hiram sent word to Solomon, saying, "I have heard the message which you sent me. I will do everything you wish concerning the cedar and juniper timber. My servants will bring the timbers down from Lebanon to the sea, and I will have them made into rafts to go by sea to the place where you direct me, and I will have them broken up there, and you will carry them away. So you shall do what I wish, by giving food to my household." So Hiram gave Solomon all that he wished of the cedar and juniper timber. Solomon then gave Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat as food for his household, and 20 cores of pure oil. This is what Solomon would give Hiram year by year. And the Lord gave wisdom to Solomon, just as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon, and the two of them made a covenant. Now King Solomon conscripted forced laborers from all Israel, and the forced laborers numbered 30,000 men. Then he sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 a month in shifts. They were in Lebanon for a month and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was in charge of the forced laborers. Now Solomon had 70,000 porters and 80,000 stonemasons in the mountains, besides Solomon's 3,300 chief deputies who were in charge of the project and ruled over the people who were doing the work. Then the king issued orders, and they quarried large stones, valuable stones, to lay the foundation for the house with cut stones. So Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders and the Gebalites cut the stones, and they prepared the timbers and the stones to build the house. 2 Chronicles chapter 2. Now Solomon decided to build a house for the name of the Lord and a royal palace for himself. So Solomon assigned 70,000 men to carry loads, 80,000 men to quarry stone in the mountains, and 3,600 to supervise them. Then Solomon sent word to Hiram, the king of Tyre, saying, "As you dealt with my father David, and sent him cedars to build a house to live in, do it for me. Behold, I am about to build a house for the name of the Lord my God, dedicating it to him, to burn fragrant incense before him, and to set out the showbread continually, and to offer burnt offerings morning and evening, on Sabbaths, on new moons, and on the appointed feasts of the Lord our God. This is to be done in Israel forever. The house which I am about to build will be great, for our God is greater than all the gods. But who is able to build a house for him, since the heavens and the highest heavens cannot contain him? And who am I that I should build a house for him, except to burn incense before him? Now send me a skilled man to work in gold, silver, brass, iron, and in purple, crimson, and violet fabrics. One who knows how to make engravings, to work with the skilled workers whom I have in Judah and Jerusalem, whom my father David provided. Send me also cedar, juniper, and algum timber from Lebanon, for I know that your servants know how to cut timber of Lebanon. And indeed, my servants will work with your servants to prepare timber in abundance for me, for the house which I am about to build will be great and wonderful. Now behold, I will give your servants, the woodsmen who cut the timber, 20,000 cores of crushed wheat, 20,000 cores of barley, 20,000 baths of wine, and 20,000 baths of oil." Then Hiram, king of Tyre, answered in a letter sent to Solomon, "Because the Lord loves his people, he has made you king over them." Then Hiram continued, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who made heaven and earth, who has given King David a wise son, endowed with discretion and understanding, who will build a house for the Lord and a royal palace for himself. Now then, I am sending Hiram-Abi, a skilled man, endowed with understanding, the son of a Danite woman and a Tyrian father, who knows how to work in gold, silver, bronze, iron, stone, and wood, and in purple, violet linen, and crimson fabrics, and who knows how to make all kinds of engravings and to execute any design which is assigned to him, to work with your skilled workers and with those of my lord your father David. Now then, let my lord send his servants wheat and barley, oil and wine, of which he has spoken. We will cut whatever timber you need from Lebanon and bring it to you as rafts by sea to Joppa, so that you may carry it up to Jerusalem. Solomon counted all the foreigners who were in the land of Israel, following the census which his father David had taken, and 153,600 were counted. He appointed 70,000 of them to carry loads, and 80,000 to quarry stones in the mountains, and 3,600 supervisors to make the people work. 1 Kings chapter 6. Now it came about in the 480th year after the sons of Israel came out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziv, that is, the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house which King Solomon built for the Lord was 60 cubits in length, and 20 cubits in its width, and its height was 30 cubits. The porch in front of the main room of the house was 20 cubits in length, corresponding to the width of the house, and its width along the front of the house was 10 cubits. Also, for the house he made windows with artistic frames. Against the wall of the house he built stories encompassing the walls of the house around both the main room and the inner sanctuary. So he made side chambers all around. The lowest story was 5 cubits wide, the middle was 6 cubits wide, and the third was 7 cubits wide. For on the outside he made offsets in the wall of the house all around, so that the beams would not be inserted into the walls of the house. The house, while it was being built, was built of stone finished at the quarry, and neither hammer nor axe nor any iron tool was heard in the house while it was being built. For the doorway for the lowest side chamber was on the right side of the house, and they would go up a winding staircase to the middle story, and from the middle story to the third. So he built the house and finished it, and he covered the house with beams and planks of cedar. He also built the stories against the whole house, each 5 cubits high, and they were attached to the house with timbers of cedar. Now the word of the Lord came to Solomon, saying, As for this house which you are building, if you will walk in my statutes, and execute my ordinances, and keep all my commandments by walking in them, then I will fulfill my word with you, which I spoke to David your father, and I will dwell among the sons of Israel, and will not abandon my people Israel. 2 Chronicles chapter 3. Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to his father David, at the place that David had prepared on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. He began to build on the 2nd day of the 2nd month of the 4th year of his reign. Now these are the foundations which Solomon laid for building the house of God. The length in cubits, according to the old standard, was 60 cubits, and the width 20 cubits. The porch, which was in front of the house, was as long as the width of the house, 20 cubits, and the height 20. And inside he overlaid it with pure gold. He overlaid the main room with juniper wood, and overlaid it with fine gold, and he ornamented it with palm trees and chains. Furthermore, he overlaid the house with precious stones, and the gold was gold from Parvaim. He also overlaid the house with gold, the beams, the thresholds, and its walls and doors, and he carved cherubim on the walls. Then he made the room of the most holy place. The length and the width of the house was 20 cubits, and its width was 20 cubits, and he overlaid it with fine gold, amounting to 600 talents. The width of the nails was 50 shekels of gold. He also overlaid the upper rooms with gold. Then he made 2 sculptured cherubim in the room of the most holy place, and overlaid them with gold. The wingspan of the cherubim was 20 cubits. The wing of one, of 5 cubits, touched the wall of the house, and its other wing, of 5 cubits, touched the wing of the other cherub. The wing of the other cherub, of 5 cubits, touched the wall of the house, and its other wing of 5 cubits was attached to the wing of the first cherub. The wings of these cherubim extended 20 cubits, and they stood on their feet facing the main room. He made the veil of violet, purple, crimson, and fine linen, and he worked cherubim into it. 1 Kings 6, starting at verse 14. So Solomon built the house and finished it. He built the walls of the house on the inside with boards of cedar. From the floor of the house to the ceiling, he paneled the walls on the inside with wood, and he paneled the floor of the house with boards of juniper. He also built 20 cubits on the rear part of the house with boards of cedar from the floor to the ceiling. He built them for it on the inside as an inner sanctuary, as the most holy place. The house, that is the main room, in front of the inner sanctuary, was 40 cubits long. There was cedar inside the house, carved in the shape of gourds and open flowers. Everything was cedar. There was no stone visible. Then he prepared an inner sanctuary inside the house in order to place there an ark of the covenant of the Lord. The inner sanctuary was 20 cubits in length, 20 cubits in width, and 20 cubits in height, and he overlaid it with pure gold. He also paneled the altar with cedar. So Solomon overlaid the inside of the house with pure gold, and he extended chains of gold across the front of the inner sanctuary, and he overlaid it with gold. He overlaid the entire house with gold until all the house was finished. Also, the entire altar, which was by the inner sanctuary, he overlaid with gold. And the inner sanctuary he made 2 cherubim of olive wood, each 10 cubits high. The one wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits, and the other wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits. From the end of one wing to the end of the other wing were 10 cubits. The second cherub was 10 cubits. Both of the cherubim were of the same measurement and the same form. The height of one cherub was 10 cubits, and so was that of the other cherub. He placed the cherubim in the midst of the inner house, and the wings of the cherubim spread out so that the wing of the one was touching the one wall, and the wing of the other cherub was touching the other wall. And their wings were touching end to end in the center of the house. He also overlaid the cherubim with gold. Then he carved all the surrounding walls of the house with engravings of cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers for the inner and outer sanctuaries. And he overlaid the floor of the house with gold for the inner and outer sanctuaries. And for the entrance of the inner sanctuary, he made doors of olive wood, the lintel, and 5-sided doorposts. And he made 2 doors of olive wood, and he carved on them carvings of cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold. And he overlaid the cherubim and the palm trees with gold. So too he made for the entrance of the main room 4-sided doorposts of olive wood, and 2 doors of juniper wood. The 2 leaves of the one door turned on pivots, and the 2 leaves of the other door turned on pivots. He carved on it cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, and he overlaid them in gold plated on the carved work. And he built the inner courtyard with 3 rows of cut stone and a row of cedar beams. In the 4th year, the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid in the month of Ziv. And in the 11th year, in the month of Bul, that is the 8th month, the house was finished in all its parts and in accordance with all its plans. So he was 7 years in building it. Thank you for listening. I pray that the seed of God's word will be planted in your heart and will continue to grow.